You know that feeling when a show you thought you were casually watching suddenly consumes your entire brain? That was me with The Summer I Turned Pretty. I thought it was just another soft teen love triangle, until it wasn't. Until it became something so heartbreakingly beautiful, so full of yearning, that I couldn't stop thinking about it. A few months ago, I made a video about love triangles. I mentioned Belly, Conrad, and Jeremiah, and I said something like, I don't really care who wins. Oh, how wrong I was. How completely the tables turned. Because by the time I finished the final season, I had gone from indifferent viewer to full-on obsessive. I was analyzing character choices, emotional growth, and that one word that defines the entire show for me, yearning. Conrad versus Jeremiah, the setup of Season 3 going into Season 3. It felt obvious that Conrad would be the endgame. Everything was written that way. The quiet tension, the unresolved feelings, the emotional weight that always followed him. Unless they pulled a complete twist and made Belly end up alone, Conrad was destined to win. But the real question wasn't who Belly would end up with. It was how they could make Conrad's victory satisfying. How could they make the audience root for him without hating Belly for her indecision or Jeremiah for being, well, Jeremiah? The simplest path would have been to turn Jeremiah into the villain. And let's be honest, they kind of did. But they did it brilliantly. At first, the setup was simple. Jeremiah cheated. Technically, we were on a break, Ross and Rachel style, but still, the writers knew that wasn't enough to make us root for Conrad. Instead, they did something smarter. They widened the maturity gap. They made Jeremiah's youth and lack of direction painfully obvious, not to make us hate him, but to make us understand him and realize why he wasn't the one. The maturity gap, boy versus man. By Season 3, Conrad has evolved. He's moved across the country, studying to become a doctor. He lives alone, keeps his place spotless, and dresses like a man who knows who he is. He's in therapy, working through his grief, and yet he's still deeply, silently in love with Belly. Jeremiah, meanwhile, feels stuck. He's still in college, still making reckless choices, still trying to find validation in all the wrong places. He forgets to check his credits before graduation. He overspends on things that don't matter. He wants his father's approval but doesn't know how to earn it. And the truth is, none of that makes him a bad person. He's just young, 21, grieving, lost, and clinging to love for comfort. But that's exactly what the show wanted us to see. Jeremiah is a boy, and Conrad is a man. Belly's relationship with Jeremiah feels tender but unbalanced. It's built on friendship and shared loss, not passion. There's affection, but also a maternal energy. She mothers him, comforts him, carries his emotional load. It's love, yes, but it's not the kind of love that lasts. The power of time. Jumps, and that's where the time jumps changed everything. Before Season 3, I enjoyed the show but never felt truly invested. It leaned heavily into teen drama territory, fun but fleeting. I sometimes thought, am I too old for this? Because the stakes felt small. But once they aged everyone up, it hit differently. The characters grew, the actors grew, the audience grew. Suddenly, this wasn't a summer crush story anymore. It became a sweeping, years-long love story about timing, distance, and emotional endurance. And that's where Yearning entered the chat. The yearning of Conrad Fisher. There's something almost poetic about a man who loves quietly, a man who waits, who doesn't chase, who simply carries his love with dignity. That's Conrad Fisher. Yearning isn't about obsession or lust, it's about devotion. It's about knowing someone's flaws and still loving them across time and silence. When Conrad and Belly meet again after years apart, he's still in love with her. Not an idealized version, not a fantasy, but the real her. That's why it hits so deeply. It's not absence makes the heart grow fonder. It's, I never stopped loving you. Even when she's about to marry his brother, he stays quiet until he can't anymore. His confession isn't about stealing her away. It's about honesty, closure, and truth. It's the kind of moment that makes you hold your breath. Some people called Conrad toxic. I call him the embodiment of restraint. because he never chased to possess, he loved to protect. Jeremiah's love, needing versus giving Jeremiah's love, on the other hand, feels more desperate. And that's not a flaw, it's a reflection of who he is. He's been deprived of stability, affection, and security. His love for Belly often filled those voids. He needed her to feel worthy, to feel seen. When things fell apart, he crumbled. He sought validation elsewhere, sleeping with someone new, rebounding fast, spiraling a bit. That's not villainy, it's human. But it also reveals how different his love is from Conrad's. Conrad's love is constant, patient, selfless. Jeremiah's love is immediate, emotional, reactive. One burns steady, the other flares and fades. The genius of Yearning. This is why Yearning resonates, especially with female audiences. It's love without ego. It's the fantasy of being deeply known and deeply wanted without needing to be chased. When Conrad finally opens up, on that beach, under that heartbreakingly calm sky, it doesn't feel performative. It feels earned. Years of silence, distance, and pain melt into that one moment, and then that final scene, the one that caught everyone off guard, was perfect. It wasn't just physical intimacy. It was emotional culmination. It was the moment the entire story had been building toward. None of it would have worked without the time jumps. They made everything believable, mature, grounded. You could feel that time had passed, that they'd lived, lost, and learned. It wasn't teen angst anymore. It was emotional realism, Jeremiah's redemption and the season's pacing. I'm also glad the writers didn't leave Jeremiah as the lost, codependent boy forever. In the finale, we finally see him grow, choosing ambition, independence, and self-worth. But that growth felt rushed. 8 of the 11 episodes revolved around the wedding plot, leaving little time for Jeremiah's redemption arc. It worked emotionally, but narratively, he deserved at least 2 more episodes to breathe. Imagine how satisfying that would have been, watching him slowly evolve instead of flipping the switch in one episode. Still, I respect that they tried. His ending gave him dignity, closure, and hope. The weekly release and the return of community. Another thing I loved, the weekly episode drops. It gave everyone time to theorize, debate, and fall apart together. Every Friday felt like a small cultural event. TikTok, Threads, Instagram, all buzzing with analysis and memes. It reminded me of when Game of Thrones aired week by week, or when we waited between Twilight movies. That anticipation built community. It made the experience social again. In an age of binge culture, this felt nostalgic, and so smart. Not every show needs it, but The Summer I Turned Pretty thrived because of it. It gave people time to feel between episodes, to process, predict, and pine. Just like the show's theme itself, waiting made it sweeter. Looking ahead, the movie and the meaning of Yearning. When I heard they're making a movie, my first thought was, please, not yet. Because what makes this story powerful is time, distance, patience, growth. Season 3 ended perfectly. If they do a movie, I hope they wait. Let the characters age. Let life happen. Let the yearning build again. Because The Summer I Turned Pretty isn't just about young love. It's about how love matures, how it survives years of silence and still burns quietly in the background of someone's life. It's about that rare kind of affection that doesn't fade. It deepens. So yes, give us the movie someday, but give it to us after we've all had time to miss them, the way Conrad missed Belly. Because if this series taught us anything, it's that the wait is what makes the love story worth it. Bring Yearning back. The world needs it.